Russia is furious, and the warnings coming out of Moscow are explosive. After U.S. forces seized a Russian-flagged oil tanker in international waters, Russian officials are now openly talking about sinking American boats. The vessel at the center of the storm is the tanker Marinera, formerly known as Bella 1. U.S. military forces, working with the Coast Guard, boarded and seized the ship in the North Atlantic, north of Scotland, under a warrant issued by a U.S. federal court. Washington claims the tanker was part of a network transporting sanctioned oil linked to Venezuela and Iran. But Moscow strongly rejects that claim. Russia's foreign ministry says the seizure was illegal, calling it a gross violation of international maritime law. Officials insist the ship was lawfully registered under the Russian flag and was operating in accordance with both Russian and international regulations. They are also demanding the immediate release of the vessel, safe treatment of Russian crew members, and their return home. Then came the most alarming statement. Russian lawmaker Alexei Zhuravlev warned that the U.S. must be stopped, even suggesting torpedo attacks and sinking American Coast Guard vessels. His message: the U.S. is acting with total impunity, and only force will make it back down. To attack with torpedoes, to sink a couple of American Coast Guard boats, normally they guard their shore several thousand kilometers away from it. I think the United States, which is in a kind of euphoria of impunity after the special operation in Venezuela, can only be stopped now with such a click on the nose. Washington claims the Marinera vessel was part of a network of ships used to transport sanctioned oil linked to Venezuela and Iran. Meanwhile, in Russia, the seizure has been framed as a direct violation of international law and Russian sovereignty. Russian officials have insisted that the tanker was lawfully registered under the Russian flag and was operating in accordance with both Russian and international regulations. The Russian Ministry of Transport earlier said the Marinera received a temporary permit to sail under the Russian Federation flag on December 25, 2025. According to the ministry, the vessel was boarded by U.S. naval forces on the high seas outside the territorial waters of any state, after which contact with the tanker was lost. Russian authorities have repeatedly cited the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, which guarantees freedom of navigation in international waters and restricts the use of force against foreign-flagged vessels. The situation is even tenser after reports that Russian naval assets, including a submarine, were operating nearby during the seizure. The Kremlin hasn't officially endorsed threats of retaliation, but the rhetoric alone shows how fast this incident is escalating. Another ship seized, another flashpoint at sea, and a growing risk that sanctions enforcement could turn into something far more dangerous.
Subscribe to One India and never miss an update. Download the One India app now.